Hey guys, what is up? It's me again, Tyler. Good to see you guys. Today, due to a viewer request, we're going to talk about 401ks, Roth IRAs, and how much you need to achieve retirement personally. We're going to answer that question of, do I need $1 million to retire? What do I do if I don't have $1 million to retire? But before we continue, please hit that like button below, hit the subscribe button below. It's free. It helps me out, helps grow the channel, and it'll give you an update every time I post a new video. Cool. So we're going to open up with talking about the difference between a pre-tax, tax-deferred 401k and a Roth 401k or IRA, and if what the differences are long-term and what you should do about them, right? So just to open up, we're going to address the tax-deferred 401k. That's usually the retirement ability that a lot of you guys will have with your company that you work at. So one thing I want to talk about really quick that you guys might not notice or think about, right, is a lot of these companies have what I like to call a guaranteed return on investment, and that's the company matching what you put in, right? You should always take advantage of that, in my opinion. It's free money, for lack of a better word, right? So if, for example, if I contribute 10% of my paycheck and the company matches 3% of that, in my head, that's a guaranteed 30% return on investment right out the gate. Now, not to say the market can't downturn and the 401k could lose value, but over time, traditionally, looking at the funds and ETFs that 401ks offer, the average S&P return since its inception, way back in the day, pricing in, great economic downturns, 2008, coronavirus and everything, the average return of the S&P is still 9% year to date, which is crazy when you think about all the bad stuff that's happened in it. So you're basically guaranteed to make money. I don't want to say guaranteed because stuff can't happen, right? But there's a very high chance that investing in your 401k is going to produce you money in the long term. But there are some downsides to a 401k, and we're going to talk about those now. So if you need to pull money out of your 401k, this is one of the biggest things I personally don't like about retirement accounts. I like to have my money accessible. That's why most of my stuff is in the stock market, because I can liquidate assets as needed for whatever, right? Obviously, you want to try to not remove money from your investments, because the less capital you have in the investments, the less money they'll make on the gains, right? But for whatever reason, if you need to move money from your 401k before you're 59 and a half, you pay a 10% penalty. Another negative effect is watching how much you pull out of your 401k when you do decide to retire, because it will affect your yearly income tax. And that's also the tricky thing about 401ks, is the taxes change year to year. So if you happen to be retiring on a high tax year, you can lose a lot more of your portfolio depending on what the capital actually is in it. So keep in tune with what the tax rates are, because they do fluctuate on that. And another thing to think about is that I know a lot of people that are nearing retirement age bank on Social Security. But if your yearly income, if you're single, gets greater than $34,000, $44,000 if you're married, 85% of your Social Security is available to get taxed, right? So that could be a hit to your income you might not be thinking about. Each individual situation is different, and as with a lot of other retirement investing decisions, the choice between a Roth and a regular account will depend on individual factors such as your age, your income, your tax bracket, and your marital status. So it's wise to sit down with a professional to give you customized advice. If you guys want to message me individually, I can help you out with individual information. Right now, I'm just trying to address everyone as a whole, though, and it's hard to give exact details without knowing your personal situation, right? But now that covers 401ks. We're going to talk a little bit about Roth now and what the difference is, because I know a lot of you guys might not have the ability to go into a Roth account. Personally, I think Roth accounts are a lot better. And just to touch on my positions a little bit in 401ks or IRAs, I contribute to my company, the Navy's current Roth 401k. But things to think about when you do contribute to a Roth, where the company matches. So Roth, if you didn't know, the money gets taken out after you pay taxes on your paycheck and gets invested, right? So now you don't have to worry about paying another tax defer. When you tax defer on your 401k, you don't have to worry about those taxes coming out on the back end, right? Another upside is if you meet the aging requirements for your Roth account, which is 5 years of age, you can remove money without a 10% penalty, like a 401k. They still have the 59 and a half year, I forget the exact word, but 59 and a half years old is standard retirement age, right, before you start seeing negative benefits. But a thing to note about Roth is that if the employer matches your contributions on Roth, the employer contribution is still seen as a tax deferred payment. So you might be thinking in your head, I have a Roth account, I have this amount of money, um, I'm not expecting to pay any taxes. This is the amount of money that I'm going to be withdrawing, and I'll pay income tax at the end of the year on the amount of when I report on my taxes, what my income is, right? But that's not the case. So whatever your employer put in, they will take taxes out of that like a normal 401k. So things to think about if your company matches your Roth 401k investment as well. Yeah, and I don't think I disclosed my positions on everything. So I contribute the minimum maximum amount for a company match into my TSP, the military way. So that's 5% of my paycheck goes towards a Roth 401k for TSP, just so the government will also match the maximum of 5%. So to me, that's a realized gain of 100% profit, which is really nice, plus whatever the market makes, which I believe in those funds right now, my average on the year is only 6%, so underperforming to a lot of other stuff. But hey, it's still nice. It's a little nest egg, right? And then I contribute $100 a month into a separate Roth IRA. I contribute a lot less into it than other people might, and a lot of that just has to do with I don't want to have to access into an IRA. Any money I put into a 401k or an IRA to me is untouchable. I don't have it, and I'll think about it later when I retire. I suggest adopting that mentality and doing your best not to insert too much into it that you don't have money for an emergency fund and living off of, right? Because it would be taking out a couple of thousand here might not seem like a big deal, but in the long term, when you look at it 30, 40 years out, it could cost you a lot of money. So in the short term, try your best not to live outside of your means and put a whole lot in just to take it out later before you retire, right? So things to think about. Another thing I wanted to talk about is if you have the availability to be awarded stocks in your company in a 401k. So a potential upside to that is that they can get capital gain tax treatment vice the standard 401k tax treatment, which can actually save you up to about 10% on taxes. Obviously, the downside to receiving company stock is if the stock value depreciates a lot, right? But if you are working somewhere that you see the company growth gaining year over year, you believe in it a lot, company stock can be a really good opportunity to save you a lot in taxes for retirement towards the end. Yeah, and now to address that, do you need $1 million to retire question? So I know a lot of people get close to retirement. They don't have anywhere near that. They're panicking. They think, oh, I'm going to have to work till I'm 72 or whatever to be able to retire. So like I said earlier, I mentioned it in the video, the average year-to-year return of the S&P 500 on the stock market since its inception is about 9%. And that factors in all economic downturns and everything, right? So sit down, think about your yearly bills when you think about retirement. For guys that are my age, you're probably not going to be even near able to predict that, right? But if you're nearing retirement age, a 9% return on investment. For what I think a lot of people that would mean and help is if you have close to $300,000 in your retirement account, a 9% return year over year on investment, while not guaranteed, but based on averages, is statistically about what you can expect, right? That's about $27,000 a year just in interest. So that's without removing any capital from that 300,000. So if you need to live a little bit outside your means or whatever, sure, but you can budget right on way less than $1 million. Whereas if you had $1 million, 9% is $90,000. I think I can speak for a lot of people and say that $90,000 is a lot more than we currently make in a year, and that we don't necessarily need $90,000 to be living our best life on retirement year to year, right? It'd be nice, right? But retiring without $1 million and significantly less than $1 million is definitely obtainable and achievable if money is managed correctly. Again, I do want to mention that everyone's retirement situation can be vastly different, but ask questions if you need to. Seek out the help because the tools are way more accessible than they were even 5-10 years ago, right? I'm here to answer any questions you guys may have. When it comes to specific funds to invest in your 401ks, I recommend viewing the prospectus. I usually like to look at the 5-year and look at the major holdings of the ETF or the mutual fund. Because if you didn't know, if you're ignorant to the whole thing, mutual funds and ETFs aren't just like a stock on the stock market, right? They usually have holdings of hundreds of different companies and their stocks, right? Because that a key philosophy I like to tell people that are just starting out is concentration may help build wealth, but diversification helps maintain wealth, right? So those diversified funds help you maintain what's yours in your retirement account, and help protect you. So look at the prospectus, look at the year returns. Some names I want to throw out to you guys to look at the ETFs in the retirement plan sector is Vanguard. They're usually the golden standard when I think about 401k retirement plans. Look at Vanguard. There are a lot of different ETFs and mutual funds that Vanguard offers, but historically they're one of the best ones in the game to invest in. Another one that might not be offered in your retirement plan, but if you are wanting to invest into something safer with a little bit more upside than a traditional stock, I would look at ARK. They're a brand new, I say brand new, they're a newer ETF mutual fund in the market, and they invest in a lot of AI, environmental friendly vehicles, but their returns have been absolutely disgusting in this past little window here. So I'd take a look at them if you were interested in putting more money into a mutual fund ETF instead of a traditional stock. I hope I answered all your guys' questions. I think I addressed everything that I took my notes on. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to go over and show you guys all of the research tools I use to get all this information, all the investing data that I get to go over my individual stocks, and there's basically what research I put into before I make an investment decision. And then Sunday, I'm going to produce a checklist of what to look at for a stock investment when you're younger and more risk tolerant, when you're in your 30s to 40s and you're about a medium risk, and then when you're getting closer to that retirement age and you want a safer investment. I'm going to give you guys a checklist for each age range of what I'd look at in a stock. I meet these wickets before I would even think about investing in them, right? So yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. Again, hit the like button, drop some comments down below with any questions you guys have, and please hit the subscribe button. It helps me out. I hope I helped you guys learn today. Good luck out there in the market, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.